This evening, first, a devastating house fire claims the lives of a husband and wife on the east bank of Essequibo. What investigators say caused the deadly blaze. Plus, big changes for travelers. Guyana's new 10-year e-passport is now available. We'll break down the features and how to apply. And is Guyana borrowing too much? Vice President Bharrat Jagdeo responds to concerns, explaining why taking on debt is actually part of the country's growth plan. Meanwhile, after 10 years of anticipation, construction on the Soesdyke-Linden Highway expansion is finally underway. What motorists need to know as work begins. Finally, a terrifying dog attack in Sint Maarten leaves 2 children hospitalized. Police forced to take extreme measures to save them. Stay tuned, these stories and more tonight on Headline News Update. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for February 10th, 2025. I'm Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, tragedy struck early Sunday morning on the east bank of Essequibo as a devastating fire claimed the lives of a couple. For more on this heartbreaking story, we go to Dale Jarvis with the details.
An early morning fire tragically claimed the lives of a middle-aged couple at their home in Hydroni, East Bank, Essequibo on Sunday, February 9, 2025. Reports are that 57-year-old Hans Raj Narain, a bus driver, and his wife, 52-year-old Hemwati Narain, who was a teacher, were both asleep when the fire started. The fire, which broke out at around 1:55 a.m., completely destroyed their home, a one-flat wooden and concrete structure. It appeared as though the couple were trapped in the single flat house that was grilled. The Guyana Fire Service promptly responded to the distress call and commenced firefighting efforts immediately. Despite the rapid response, the fire had already engulfed the building, leaving no time for the occupants to escape. The fire consumed the entire structure, reducing its contents to ashes. Preliminary investigations conducted by the Guyana Fire Service identified the fire was caused by a slack electrical connection, which resulted in arcing and sparking that ignited nearby combustible materials. Minister of Home Affairs Rupson Ben said a full investigation is underway to determine all contributing factors and prevent similar occurrences. Chief Fire Officer Wickham reiterated the importance of fire safety and adherence to electrical maintenance protocols, urging all citizens to take necessary precautions to safeguard their homes and families. The Guyana Fire Service continues to educate the public on fire prevention measures and the importance of ensuring electrical systems are properly installed and maintained. Reporting for Headline News Update, Dale Jarvis.
Thanks, Dale. Big changes are coming for travelers in Guyana. The Ministry of Home Affairs has officially rolled out the country's new 10-year passport, aiming to modernize services and enhance security. For a full breakdown, we go to Malcolm Carter, who has more on the transition.
Last week, Deputy Chief Immigration Officer Stephen Telford, in an interview with Radio Ivleri, said Guyana will soon be rolling out a new 10-year passport to keep up with international standards.
What we currently will be rolling out shortly for our country is our new passport. Those passport has been upgraded and it will now be valid for 10 years.
The Ministry of Home Affairs announced the official rollout of the new Cooperative Republic of Guyana's 10-year passport starting today, February 10, 2025. This initiative aims to modernize the country and improve service delivery for citizens. The new passport, offering 5-year and 10-year validity options, features enhanced security measures, including an embedded electronic chip for better identity protection. This initiative aims to modernize the country and improve service delivery for citizens. The new passport, offering 5-year and 10-year validity options, features enhanced security measures, including an embedded electronic chip for better identity protection. The 5-year passport costs $6,000, while the 10-year version costs $12,000. In alignment with international standards, the passport aims to streamline border crossings and improve authentication.
So shortly, your next passport that you might lucky to be received will now be valid for 10 years instead of 5 years. So we are there with the international standard of those passports.
Manual applications are now required at passport offices nationwide, with biometric enrollment for all applicants. An online application system will shortly be introduced, allowing citizens to apply remotely. Those who applied for a passport before February 7, 2025 will receive the previous version, while all applicants submitted from February 10th onwards will receive the new e-passport. Adjustments to the passport replacement process are now being considered to prevent fraud. The ministry encourages citizens to stay informed and be patient during the transition. Reporting for Headline News Update, Malcolm Carter.
Thanks, Malcolm. Guyana's borrowing strategy has been a hot topic, with concerns raised over the country's financial future. But Vice President Bharrat Jagdeo is setting the record straight, addressing misconceptions and outlining why borrowing, when done strategically, can fuel growth. For more on his remarks and what this means for the nation, we go to Malcolm Carter with the details.
At his Thursday press conference at Freedom House, Vice President Bharrat Jagdeo addressed recent allegations regarding his past statements on Guyana's borrowing and citizens thinking he meant that Guyana would eventually not have to borrow. He clarified that even the most developed economies, including the United States, rely on borrowing.
The United States of America borrows because if you borrow and invest in expanding economic wealth for people and opportunities, it's called borrowing. That's why businessmen grow. They borrow so that they can expand and to make money.
Dr. Jagdeo highlighted that Guyana's current borrowing strategy has fueled rapid economic expansion, particularly in infrastructure, energy, and social development. He stressed the difference between responsible and irresponsible borrowing, noting how a bad strategy leads to financial debt. He also noted that investments in specific areas will drive long-term revenue generation, making repayments sustainable.
So my point is that our borrowing must not overload our capacity to repay, nor must it burden future generations. That's the philosophy. So you got to differentiate what kind of borrowing. If you borrow now to consume, to eat, like what APNO was doing for a substantial period, that is why we accumulated this big debt, then that's bad borrowing. But if you're borrowing to expand productive capacity and your overall capacity to repay is so small that it's one of the best figures in the world now we have in terms of capacity to repay.
The Vice President's remarks aimed to counter criticisms that the country was overleveraging itself, reinforcing that strategic investment will secure Guyana's financial future. Reporting for Headline News Update, Malcolm Carter.
Thanks, Malcolm. Stick around when we return. Single mother of 5 receives a life-changing home through Men on a Mission initiative, and Guyanese awaits the $100,000 cash grant distribution.
It's Digicell's 18th anniversary and we're going big with our blowout sale. Get up to 40% off Samsung smartphones. Yes, you heard that right. 40% off Samsung smartphones. Grab the Samsung A05 for just $17,000, the A15 for only $27,000, and the A25 at a jaw-dropping $35,000. But wait, there's more. With every purchase, enjoy a 30-day free data plan to stay connected. Hurry to a Digicel store near you. Offer good while stocks last. Digicel, the network for everyone, everywhere.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Common flaws make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Middle Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fractured my hip.
If you need some quick money,
you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road, Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Welcome back. Excitement is building as the government prepares to roll out its promised $100,000 one-off cash grant to citizens across several regions. For more on the process and what citizens can expect, we go to Malcolm Carter with the details.
As the 2025 budget passes, citizens across Guyana eagerly await the distribution of the promised $100,000 one-off cash grant. The government has assured that Regions 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 10 distribution schedule will be published within a week. General Secretary of the People's Progressive Party, Dr. Bharrat Jagdeo, reassured the public that all eligible Guyanese will receive the grant. Now that the government's over $1 trillion budget has been passed, the necessary funds are available to resume distribution.
Now that the budget is appropriated, we now have the resources to make the checks available. So even if the checks were cut, you could not deliver or get them encashed because the resources would not be available. So now we have the resources for all the region.
The Vice President also thanked the finance staff for their continuous efforts.
And I want to thank the staff at finance for their patience. These are hard-working public servants who are managing this and all their volunteers. This is a huge undertaking to get in a country.
Finance Secretary Krishna Lal Prashad told the Department of Public Information on February 6 that the Ministry of Finance is finalizing these schedules while simultaneously verifying persons who have registered. He noted that they have registered about 271,000 persons since the beginning of the year and verified 242 persons. And also that last year about 390,000 persons were registered and verified, noting that they've substantially completed distribution in Region 1, 7, 8, and 9, emphasizing the magnitude of the effort. So far, approximately 121,000 citizens have received their grants, with $30 billion allocated for the remaining 300,000 eligible persons. Reporting for Headline News Update, Malcolm Carter.
Thanks, Malcolm. Construction on the long-awaited expansion of the Soesdyke-Linden Highway has officially begun, with Guyana Construction Company commencing work from Banya, heading north along the western driving lane. Traffic is being managed with safety precautions in place, and motorists are urged to proceed with caution. The $161 million construction project will upgrade a 73-kilometer stretch of the highway and is being undertaken by a joint venture between Trinidad and Tobago's Namilco Construction Services Limited and Guyana Construction Incorporated from Guyana. A Kuwait firm will supervise the project under a separate contract. During the signing ceremony in August of 2024, President Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali emphasized the highway's critical role in improving connectivity and supporting the development of hinterland communities.
This investment is part of a wider menu of investment that is aimed at the transformation of our country, the opening up of opportunities, the rebuilding and expansion of the economy, and the integration of different regions within our country. As you know, this highway is integral, not only for the connectivity between Region 4 and Region 10, but importantly, it is important because it is one of the main arteries that support the development in the hinterland communities and wider afield.
The president highlighted the project's potential to expand land availability and attract new investments.
This is a careful, well-articulated strategy that will put Guyana #1. We are not working to be #2. We are working to be #1 in whatever we do. This economy, by the time we're finished, will be the most advanced, most diversified, most integrated, and our urban and regional planning will be the best planned urban and regional planning. It is no guesswork.
Public Works Minister Bishop One Edgehill detailed key upgrades, including 2 roundabouts at the Soesdyke-Linden Junction and the entrance to Linden, 10 bridges, additional drainage systems, 3,000 streetlights, and rest stops along the route. Some sections of the highway will be rehabilitated while others will undergo complete reconstruction to support increased traffic and heavier loads. The project, funded by the Islamic Development Bank, marks the first in Guyana under the bank's financing. It is part of a $200 million framework agreement signed in 2023 to enhance Ghana's infrastructure. On a different note, a single mother and her 5 children in New Amsterdam, Berbice, are now living in a fully furnished 3-bedroom home, thanks to the Men on a Mission initiative led by President Dr. Mohamed Irfaan Ali. On Saturday, Minister of Agriculture Zulfikar Mustafa officially handed over the home to 33-year-old Shelley Dudnot of Patrick Dam Angois Avenue. Overcome with emotions, Dudnot, who is a part-time worker, expressed gratitude for the life-changing assistance, recalling the hardships her family faced in their unsafe and deteriorating home. The Men on a Mission initiative, aimed at supporting vulnerable families, is part of a broader effort to enhance the quality of life for disadvantaged citizens across Guyana. Minister Mustafa emphasized that the government remains committed to providing homes and other essential resources to those in need. Regional Chairman David Armagon noted that several vulnerable families in Region 6 have benefited from similar housing projects in the recent years. With a $700 million budget for Men on a Mission in 2025, the initiative plans to construct 52 houses nationwide to assist those in need. Don't go away after the break. Thousands protest in Spain's Madrid against high rent prices and cost of living. And China-US trade war, Beijing's retaliatory tariffs come into effect.
Digicel is celebrating 18 amazing years, and we're giving you the ultimate shopping spree. That's right, top up with $1,000 or more, and you could be one of 4 lucky winners, each walking away with up to $1 million in groceries. Imagine filling your carts with everything you need and more, absolutely free. Top up now and get ready to dash for carts full of groceries. Digicel, the network for everyone, everywhere.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Cab Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's the best for your eyes. How smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Middle Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Good girl forget things. What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, You should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lenders, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world.
Good evening, I'm Malcolm Carter and welcome to our regional and international news segment which keeps you informed and up to date with the trending news stories worldwide. In the Caribbean, 2 miners were severely injured in a dog attack on St. Peter's Road, Sint Maarten, Saturday night. An 11-year-old boy was mauled inside a residence while a 14-year-old managed to escape with bite wounds. Police, responding to multiple emergency calls, were forced to put down the dogs to reach the child. Both victims were hospitalized and authorities are investigating the incident while urging pet owners to take precautions. Meanwhile, in Asia, China's marriage rate hit a record low in 2024 with only 6.1 million couples tying the knot, a 20.5% drop from the previous year. Despite government incentives, marriages and births continue to decline, posing economic and demographic challenges. Divorce rates slightly increased while the aging population grew. Young adults facing financial pressure and shifting social norms are increasingly delaying or avoiding marriage, complicating Beijing's efforts to reverse population decline. We now turn our attention to Europe, where thousands of demonstrators are in Madrid angry about a lack of affordable housing. Prices in Spain have been sharply rising, driven by high tourism numbers, reducing the availability of homes for residents. Al Jazeera's Felix Naiwara reports.
A sea of protesters flooding the streets of Madrid, calling for urgent action from the government to fix what they say is a housing emergency.
We're here to denounce the horror of living in Madrid. Madrid suffocates us. It pushes us out. Housing makes life unbearable.
Spain is battling a widespread cost of living crisis. Rents keep rising. The average cost of housing reached an all-time high at the end of last year. Working class families and younger generations are struggling the most.
First of all, the jobs available, the salaries, everything. It's not enough for us to live on. This means we can't even afford to rent a place, never mind buy one, which is completely out of the question. Rental prices keep rising while wages keep getting lower.
Many here blame the holiday rental industry for their plight. Spain is struggling to balance income from tourism while still protecting citizens from gentrification and runaway prices.
There's about 20,000 tourist apartments in the city centre in the central area of Madrid, only of which 2,000 are legal. That reduces the availability of housing for residents.
Protesters are demanding the government take responsibility and protect the right to dignified housing for all. In July, the government announced a crackdown on short-term and holiday rentals, vowing to enforce licensing laws. And last month, it revealed plans for a new 100% tax on real estate bought by non-EU buyers. Madrid says that such deterrent measures may help keep Spain's housing market reserved for its city's residents. Felix Naiwara, Al Jazeera.
Finally, China has issued retaliatory tariffs on about $14 billion worth of goods on the United States. Beijing announced the move last week after the US imposed tariffs on 10% on all Chinese products. Al Jazeera's Katrina Yu reports.
China has added extra tariffs on a range of American imports. Coal and liquefied natural gas will be levied with an additional 15% tax. Crude oil, farming equipment and some vehicles, 10%. The move is Beijing's response to the Trump administration's added 10% tariff imposed on all Chinese imports to the US at the start of February.
Trade and tariff wars have no winners. What is needed are not more tariffs, but dialogue. We urge the U.S. to correct its action and stop weaponizing trade issues.
China is also hitting back by filing a lawsuit against the U.S. at the World Trade Organization, sanctioning 2 U.S. firms, tightening control over the export of rare earth minerals to the U.S., and launching an antitrust investigation into tech giant Google. China's first move in Donald Trump's continuing trade war against it is relatively restrained, affecting less than 10% of its annual US imports. But it does carry a warning for Washington. Beijing doesn't want an extended trade war, but it is ready for one and can now cause more damage to the US economy than it did during Trump's first term.
China really learned the lesson from the first Trump administration. It's not wise, to immediately take a dramatic measure against Trump, because at the end of the day, we know for sure Trump is a very transactional.
Trump wants to decrease Washington's trade deficit with China, which hit a record $295 billion last year. He says the added tariffs are also punishment for not doing enough to stem the tide of the illegal drug fentanyl to the US, something Chinese officials deny.
These latest announcements are a way of President Trump showing that he is very serious about using the tariff instrument as a policy tool for achieving both economic and non-economic objectives.
Washington also plans to scrap duty exemptions for cheap Chinese goods, the so-called de minimis rule, which would raise prices for e-commerce stores Temu and Shein. An extra 25% US tariff on steel and aluminium would affect less than 1% of China's global exports of the commodities. For now, Xi Jinping is watching closely for Trump's next move and is ready to inflict more pain on the US and its companies in response. Katrina Yu, Al Jazeera, Beijing.
That wraps up our regional and international news segment for tonight. Thank you for joining us as we bring you the latest updates from around the globe. I'm Malcolm Carter. Good night. See you next time. Back to you, Bibi.
Thanks, Malcolm. Up next is the 3D weather forecast. And that's FTV2 Headline News for this Monday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. You can tune in tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. for a rebroadcast and at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourself and each other.